He'd never let me go. My heart sank. I saw something that I've never seen before. Hey guys, my name is Natalie and welcome to my very first English video. I live in Paris and I like to film creepy stories, vlogs, and some videos about social topics are also coming soon, so you can subscribe to this channel to see if you like them or not. As well as you can leave a little like to support me. From now on, most of my videos will be in English. Для всех русскоговорящих вы можете включить субтитры. I must also say that I like to tell those creepy stories from the first person's view, as if they happened to me, even though in most cases they happen to other people. And the stories that I'll be mentioning in this video are no exception. Also, sorry for any mistakes. I make mistakes in all the languages that I speak, and English is not my first language. And just before we get started, I would like to invite you to my Instagram, where I post stories on a daily basis. And I like to make those like Instagram vlogs, so you can check them out, you know, to see my Parisian life. It's time to get to this story. It was the summer I graduated and went to camp. Everything was going well. It could have been more exciting to start a new chapter of my life. I had recently turned 18 and the world felt like it was mine for the taking. The camp was located in the remote part of the forest, far away from the city's noise and pollution. I had always loved outdoors, so this was just the perfect way to spend my vacation before heading off to college. The first few days at camp were filled with fun activities, bonding with the other campers, and exploring the beautiful wilderness that surrounded us. One evening, when the sun was setting and the campfire crackled merrily, I met this guy. He was slightly older than me and had the most captivating blue eyes. His name was Jason. He seemed kind and nice, I guess, and we hit it off almost immediately. We spent a lot of time together the following days, talking about our lives, our dreams, our fears, about everything, really. I felt a deep connection with him. It felt like he was the only one who could truly understand me. I've been in a relationship before, but nothing ever seemed quite like this. So as the days went by, I found myself falling for him. It was the kind of whirlwind romance you would only read in books or see in movies. And one day, as we were walking through the forest on our break, he took my hand and led me to this secluded spot. He told me it was a real hidden gem, and it was. It was beautiful, with a small waterfall cascading into a crystal clear pool. We spent hours there, talking, laughing, and sharing secrets. It was during one of these conversations that I first noticed that something was off about him. So Jason started telling me about his past, about how his parents were never around and how he always felt that he was left to fend for himself. As he spoke, his eyes seemed to darken and his voice took a very strange tone. If I were to describe this, it almost felt like there was this dark cloud right above him when he was talking about his past. Or at least he couldn't get over it. Anyway, I tried to brush it off as a product of my imagination, and I truly attributed this to the emotional weight of his story. A few days later, I was in my cabin getting ready for bed when I heard a knock on the door. I opened it to find Jason standing there, his blue eyes staring intently at me. He asked if he could come in, and I even hesitated for a moment before letting him in. I could feel my heart race as he stepped closer. I couldn't help but wonder if that was the moment that our friendship would, you know, become something else, something more. Instead, he handed me a small wrapped package. It was a gift, he said, something to remember him before camp was over. I thanked him, and as I unwrapped the delicate paper, I found a small wooden box. There was a silver necklace inside with a beautifully crafted pendant in the shape of a heart. I looked up at him, and his eyes seemed to glimmer in the dim light of the cabin. He reached out to touch my face gently, and I could feel my heart rising in my cheeks. It was then when I noticed a small, jagged scar on his wrist. Curiosity got the better of me, so I asked him about it, and at this moment, his eyes darkened again as he hesitated before answering. He told me that it was a reminder of a dark time in his life, a time that he'd rather forget. I sensed that there was more to this story, but it didn't press him farther. The next morning, I woke up to find a note on my bedside table. It was from Jason, and it said that he had to leave the camp unexpectedly. He didn't give any reasons, but he promised that we would meet again someday. Confused and, to be honest, heartbroken, I held the necklace close to my chest, feeling a deep sense of loss. As weeks passed, I gradually pushed thoughts of Jason to the back of my mind, focusing on the remaining days of camp and the new friendships that I had formed. Nonetheless, there was this strange feeling, something that was there in the back of my mind about Jason. I couldn't forget his eyes and his face that night. He truly didn't want to talk about this. I felt like he was hiding something from me, and I sort of came too close to the truth. Anyway, one night as I lay in my cabin, I heard a soft scratching noise coming from the window. Curiosity piqued. I hesitantly approached, peered into the darkness outside. There, hidden in the shadows, I saw a familiar figure. It was Jason. Excitement and fear coursed through me as I opened the window. He told me he had returned because he couldn't stay away from me any longer. He asked me to meet him by the waterfall in an hour, promising to explain everything. I agreed, my heart pounding in my chest. As I approached the waterfall, I saw him standing there, his blue eyes glowing eerily in the moonlight. But this time, he looked different. His face pale, his demeanor more intense than before. He pulled me close and whispered that he had a secret to share, one that would bind us together forever. He led me to this small hidden cave right behind the waterfall, and as we entered, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The walls were adorned with pictures of me, taken from a distance over the past few weeks, even when he was supposed to be not at camp, including the pictures from the bathroom, from the woods with my friends. He literally followed me anywhere I went. I feared for my life because I thought I would never leave. Or to be more precise, he'd never let me go. My heart sank, and I realized that this sweet, caring guy that I thought I knew had been stalking me all along. I tried to hide my horror as he explained his obsession, how he couldn't stand the thought of us being apart, even for a moment. I saw something that I've never seen before. Anybody. It was like a tiger looking at his food. It was like I was the prize that he's always wanted. And to be completely honest, he just looked insane. He told me that he'd been watching me from the shadows, ensuring that I was safe and happy. He also said that I was so gentle and nice that it was too easy for anybody to hurt me. The twisted sense of love in his words sent a shiver down my spine. I knew I had to escape, but I just didn't know how. I was really desperate at that point, so I kind of feigned my sympathy for him and told him that I understood his feelings, and I told him that I too couldn't bear to be apart from him. I asked him to give me some time to process everything and suggested we meet again the following night. And to my relief, he agreed. I spent the rest of the day coming up with a plan, knowing that I'll have to leave camp and get away from Jason as far as possible. I confided in my closest friends, and together we managed to contact the camp director and my parents. That night, as I waited by the waterfall, my heart raced, fearing that Jason would see through my deception. But just as he appeared, the camp director and a group of counselors emerged from the shadows surrounding him. Jason tried to flee. He even tried to fight with one of the counselors, but they quickly apprehended him. The camp director informed us that Jason had a history with stalking and obsession, and he actually had been kicked out of the camp before, but they had let him back in, hoping that he had changed, but it was pretty clear that he hadn't. Then we called the police and Jason was taken away. I could see his blue eyes filled with a mixture of rage and desperation. I left camp early, shaking but grateful for the support of my friends and the camp staff. A silver necklace remained in my possession. Let's call it a chilling reminder when my life took a dark and twisted turn. As I prepared for college, I knew that I would never forget the eerie blue eyes of the guy that I once thought I knew. At the time, I didn't think about that, but no wonder why I had the feeling that I was being followed. So that's the story, guys. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you think of the story. Tell me if anything ever has happened to you. I would love to read your stories if you have some. So please, please, please write me a comment and leave a like if you like this video. I think what happened is really creepy and scary, and it's really good that everything at the end was okay. I think this guy really maybe should go to like a mental hospital, or at least police should keep an eye on him, because obsession can take even a scarier turn. I personally have never been really stalked, but I think I talked about my experience with a guy who kind of was trying to stalk me, and let's say I'll tell you the story in one of my next videos. Again, please leave a like and a comment, subscribe to my channel, and tap to the little bell. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see each other very soon. Bye bye.